Until the lions begin to tell their own story, the stories of the hunt will always glorify the hunters. Welcome to today's episode of Sip and Ponder with SirguyIsHere. And with me on the show today, I have one of the biggest consumers of hip hop in the eastern part of Nigeria. I have JB on the show. JB, welcome to Sip and Ponder.
Thank you for having me on the show.
How you doing now? You don't think?
I did fine. I did alright.
So before we hit straight into it, we are just here to give a fan perspective of how hip hop has emerged over time, what we are currently enjoying in the East, to talk about the dominant sound in the eastern part of Nigeria, which is rap. But then before we kick right into it, I want you to rate what Sagai has put on a scale of 10. So test and rate.
On a scale of 1 to 10, I would say 7.
Cool. Okay, so when you look at the last five 5 years, maybe since 2020, it's not just been about Jake. It's been about how big. In fact, from the last 5 years, artists from the East that have been emerging seem to be only hip hop artists. Yes, there have been other artists emerging from the East, but then the most dominant sound now, if you enter Keke, you enter anything, boss, or anywhere you dey, you're going to hear an Agbono song, you're going to hear High Salavista. As long as you're in the East, the main sound that will be getting into your ear is rap. You know,
Yes.
let's have your opening review on rap in the East.
Uh, I think rap is a very big uh, genre of music to just say that it's rap in the East. What we have in the East is not just rap. I think it's a subgenre of rap that was, considering the period of time from 2020 when J-Wick popped up with Good Boys Dream till date. It's not rap. Some people call it drill. Some people call it trap. You understand? So it's trap and not rap. They are two different things. Do you understand? So the dominant genre of music in the East since the inception of Good Boys Dream by Jerry is trap. He's the guy that made that sound to go mainstream in the East, at least like within the confines of the East. Uh, there are people who have been doing drill before Jerick. Tidings did drill before Jerick. There has been Quincy before Jerick.
Yes.
Do you understand? So now, Jerick brought that drill to the limelight with his own pattern. Because the type of drill Jerick did was different from the type of drill Quincy did before him, the type of drill Tidings did before him. So I would say it's trap or drill, as some people will call it, and not rap. Rap is different from what we've been seeing in the East. But everybody can call himself a rapper. If you are a rapper, if yeah, do you understand?
They all are.
Yes, all of them are under the umbrella of rap.
When you see music heads, in Nigeria talk about music, they seem to talk about only lyrics. In fact, as at the time Starboy said that rap is dead in Nigeria, hip hop or drill, like you call it, was popping. It was the main sound in the East. You had people who come from Lagos, who come from ABJ, anywhere you're coming from and you're seeking collaboration. In fact, for you to get into the East, you must feature a rapper from the East. That is how big Jerry or rap is. But then, looking at what Jerry has done from this period of time, from 2020 till date, he didn't just succeed in making what was then more popular. I think, from my perspective, that he succeeded in also bringing in a message into rap. It seems like the entire trail that we consume in the East, in my own perspective, there is a dominant message in it. Do you share the same perspective?
Okay, you would not blame Whiskey for saying rap is dead in Nigeria because one, rap is sophisticated. Rap is a very serious genre of music. Rap is not for everybody. You have to be intelligent. You have to be very, very intelligent to be a rapper.
I say Nigerians are not intelligent.
No, I'm not saying Nigerians are not intelligent. Yeah, I could. No, I'm not saying Nigerians are not intelligent, but Nigerians do not consume music that has substance. That is why hip hop struggles to go mainstream in Nigeria. Do you understand? There are big rappers in Nigeria. There is Illbliss, there is MI. There are many good rappers in Nigeria, but their music don't go mainstream. But when you come down and listen to their music, you'd see there is substance in their music, in their rap. Do you understand? But Nigerians don't listen to that kind of music and it doesn't go mainstream. So I presume that since it's Wizkid was referring to the commercial success of rap when he said rap is dead in Nigeria and not just the talent or yeah.
Okay, let's dig deep more into the content of the rap. I think everyone in the East is talking about the same thing. You're either talking about smoking, you're either talking about money. Everyone is trying to pass that message of nigga, across to the streets. I think more could be done with the rap in the East as regards the content that is being passed on to the Do you share the same perspective?
Okay. When it comes to rap, trap, or drill, you should know that Togri is part of what makes up rap. Togri is part of the rap culture. Do you understand? Street is part of the rap culture. The biggest rappers in the world rap about these things, and their stories are not so much different from our stories. Do you understand? Now, you cannot checkmate what someone does with his rap because rap has big wings to cover everything.
Do you think that our rappers are doing enough to cover everything?
No, there is only one rapper from the East that's doing very well with uh, dynamism in lyrics and everything. And that guy is Nuno Ziggy.
Mm.
Yes,
Shout
Nuno
out
Ziggy.
to Nuno.
Yeah,
Nuno
shout out to
graduated
Nuno
from
Ziggy.
UDC. And I passed through music as well.
Yes. Nuno Ziggy is a very good lyricist. When you listen to Nuno's raps, when you listen to his lines, sometimes you have to calm down to come back later to understand what he meant.
Mm.
Do you understand? That's what rap is all about. That's what it's supposed to be obtainable when you rap. That's why I said you have to be very, very intelligent. Your IQ has to be up there. You have to challenge people's IQ when you rap. People have to pause the music to understand what you meant. And when they do, they connect the dots.
Okay, now that we are talking about Nuno, there is this particular track in one of the projects he dropped last year in Slovenia. I listened to that track. He talked about what and everything that has happened to Igbo people over time, how we have been mentally enslaved.
Yeah.
And I found myself asking myself a lot of questions. And at some point, I threw this question to him on Twitter, even though he didn't answer. I hope you see this and I hope you respond. After talking about what and everything we have been through as a people, how religion has affected our culture, our way of life, he ended saying, in the name of Jesus again. I mean, the same Jesus he condemned all through the entire track, saying how his name have been used to enslave us to do this and that to us. He still ended saying, so it makes you, from a fan perspective, from how I feel about it, it's like, oh, they are teaching us a message that they don't actually want us to live by. And if you look at it, you might feel like it is the same with the talkery of the that comes with this rap culture. The sound They bring in that thug aspect of it, yet nobody where it really matters. You don't see them coming to real life to say that we should get violent. Maybe in a while we are going through challenges like this Fulani herdsmen, you don't hear them say, let's bring out the thug aspect of us and get violent with this. So generally, would you say that the rap in the East, says another thing and they want you to do another thing? And would you also say that while they are rapping, they are just like actors who come on stage, perform a particular character, and when they go off stage, they become a different person?
Rap, first of all, is an art. You understand? And art is subjective. For example, with the instance you pointed out, Ziggy's track condemning Jesus and at the end of the day still saying the name of Jesus. Now, for Christians and people who believe in Jesus Christ, uh, they know for them Jesus Christ is perfect, and but at the same time they know that there are people who, in the name of Jesus, deceive people, and I feel like that's what Ziggy was pointing out in that track. And at the end of the day, he still called upon the same Jesus to save the situation. That doesn't mean that the condemn, like what he condemned in the track was Jesus Christ in particular. I wouldn't know because his rap is too deep that sometimes what you think it is not really what it is. Do you understand? So this is from my own perspective. I think Nuno might have another perspective. Nuno might have another thing altogether in mind in that track. So, but from my own perspective, he was not condemning Jesus Christ directly. He was just condemning the one, like people who deceive people in the name of Jesus. You understand? So you can cut him some slack for calling on the name of Jesus at the end of the track. Do you understand?
Okay.
Yes. So
Okay, so let's look at the media in the East. It's when you're talking about music in the East and you're talking about the media, it would be a great thing not to mention the name of Maxwell's party animal number one.
uh,
When we look at media in the East and how big rap has grown in the East, the kind of records that rap in the East is breaking, do you think that the media is doing justice to the movement that is, documenting, doing enough documentation, doing enough publicity for what is really happening in this part of the world?
the biggest problem that trap stars in the East, artists from the East who are dominantly rappers face is the media. There is not enough media coverage in the East and infrastructure, anyways, and funding too. Do you understand? The reason why the Lagos centric market is booming, like the Lagos centric music market is booming, I mean Afrobeat, is because of the funding that goes into it, the media, and everything. In the East, there's not enough media coverage. In fact, they do their PR independently.
Exactly.
Do you understand?
Exactly.
So there are not enough media. Uh, there's not enough media strength and media presence in the East to push the craft. You understand? We have to come together to say this is our thing and push this thing. We don't just leave it for the artists to do. They will do their best. Do you understand? And shout out to Jerick for independently taking, what I say, Igbo trap to the next level. Jerick was the first person to go number one on Apple Music charts, Nigeria, with his Billion Dollar Dream album. And again, he went, I think number one or top 10 with Dremo, that East to West AP. So shout out to him for setting the pace. Do you understand? So I think personally that the media is not doing enough